our webinar, let me give a few words about what is Adi and Lokmanch. Adi is the eventual shape of the 60-year-old Jesuit action with the people of Attapadi. Schedules are planned and carried out by the people themselves. It aims at inherent progress of the tribals in Attapadi. Besides encouraging education, employability, and soft skills training, it is decided to organize a center for eco-education through the blooming of an eco-reserve for the future generation. It is set up in 24 acres of land at Matatagadu next to Silent Valley National Park. It basically emphasized on the evaluation of socio-economic progress made in Attapadi and thereby scrutiny the refinement made in the livelihood of the local group, specifically the tribal communities. Afforestation, biomass development, conservation of water resource, and promotion of suitable income generating activities (IGA) are attempted through community-based organization. Adi Tarimitra is a grid for students who are engaged in a movement to protect and promote a healthy environment on Earth. Tarimitra aims to spread ecological creativity by instructing its members in handling local environmental issues. This helps in stimulating spiritually by organizing for the preservation of biodiversity. Vision of Adi, a protected and suitable environment for all, especially the Adivasis, to bloom and flourish. Mission of Adi, we are committed to be the Adivasis for the integral development and to preserve Mother Earth through our ecological interventions to ensure suitable living conditions for all its Attapadi. Objectives of Adi to promote and preserve culture, language, arts forms, and indigenous knowledge of Adivasis. Second, to promote eco-friendly initiatives and biodiverse projects. To network, lobby on and collaborate with the eco-justice issues and movements to empower the tribal youth to be self-relevant, employable, and committed to accompany the students in their educational aspirations and integrate development to facilitate documentation and research on tribal and ecological issues, to facilitate documentation and research on tribal and ecological issues, to encourage alternative health care systems and to preserve indigenous health practice and ethnomedicine. Lokmanch. Lokmanch is envisioned as a movement of an by the Dalits, Adivasis, women, minorities, urban poor, and other marginalized communities. About 100 organizations from 12 states have formed Lokmanch together with like-minded partners to strengthen the dignity and expand the rights of the priority communities by capacitating them to develop informed citizens using access to entitlement as a tool. Vision of Lokmanch, building an egalitarian, just, inclusive, democratic, and secular society in India. Now I like to give a few words about Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, also known as Ambedkar, was an Indian jurist, economic politician, and social reformer who inspired the Dalit Buddhist movement and campaigned against social discrimination towards the untouchable. He was British Indian minister and labor in victorious Executive Council. Chairman of the Constitute Drafting Committee, Independent Minister of Law and Justice, and considered the chief architect of the Constitution of India. All right. Shall we begin our event with a prayer? I invite Mr. Mebin Biju Joseph, School of Social Work of Marian College, Kutikanam, to read preamble of Constitution of India as prayer.
We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, to hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mabel Biju Joseph. You did it very well. It was a proud moment for each and every citizen of India while reading a preamble of Indian Constitution as a preamble. So moving on to the next section, which is handled by Ms. Ashwati Yu, who is the counselor of ADI. So I would like to invite Ms. Ashwati Yu for the opening speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Kindly mute everyone. Yeah, carry on, Ashwini.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome, one and all, for the webinar on the relevance of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the current scenario. I really feel great and proud to be a part of a discussion regarding the father of our constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It's a great opportunity for me. Now I am entering into my duty. It is to welcome each one of you, my friends. First of all, I would like to welcome Mr. K. Ambujakshan. He is a well-known person, Ambedkarite and national convener of NARDO. Next, I'm going to welcome Mr. Rahul Alenje, who is an education policy expert, research consultant, and major in Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and education thoughts. He is addressing us. I also welcome Brother Joseph Chariplakal, the head of the Department of Marian College, Kutikanam, who is also facilitating this webinar. Now I welcome the Director of ADI, Father Lenin Anthony SJ, who helped us in organizing this webinar, and also the students from Marian College, Kutikanam and Sahijodi Arts and Science College, Kumili. And I am very happy to welcome you all the participants of this webinar from different parts of the world, and especially the students, faculties, social workers, and everyone. And once again, I wish you all a great session and welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ashwadi. It was worth for welcoming each and everyone into this webinar.
So guys, moving on to the inaugural ceremony of this event, let me invite Mr. K. Ambujakshan. He is a founder. He is a founder of Ambedkar organization, Kerala Dalit Fathers. Currently, the presiding member of KDP, the national coordinator of NADO. NADO means National Alliance of Dalit Organization. He is the director of Community Development Center in Chenganur, and he has completed B.Tech from REC and MS Sociology from Annamala University. He is also working as the trainer in life skill and speech in Tukumar Airport Foundation. So, welcome, sir, for inaugurating our event.
Mr. Sir, you are there? Objection, sir. Kindly unmute and speak, sir. Sir, could you unmute?
Yes. Okay.
Please carry on. Thank you. Thank you. And welcome to our webinar. Carry on.
Thank you. Respected chairman of this webinar, our distinguished guest, Dr. Rahul Ali, the director of ADI, Father Lenin Anthony, my students and faculty members. At the outset, I wholeheartedly would like to thank the organizers of this webinar for inviting me to inaugurate this function of commemorating 130th birth anniversary of the great son of India, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Jai Bhim. Foremost, I would like to congratulate the faculties and the students in organizing this event to discuss the relevance of Dr. Ambedkar in the current scenario. On January 26, 1950, we are going to enter into a life of contradictions. In politics, we will have equality, but in social and economic life, we will have inequality. We must resolve this contradiction at the earliest, or else those who suffer from inequality will blow up the very structure of the political democracy which this assembly has built so laboriously. These were the words of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar while presenting the final draft of the Constitution of India on 25th November 1949 in the Constituent Assembly. Now, in our beloved nation, undergoing turmoil like incomparable farmers' agitation, anti-CAA protest, youth and students' agitations, Dalits, tribals, minorities, and secular forces, everyone rallying across the nation to protect the Constitution and the democracy. The words of our father of the Constitution becomes the pinpointer towards the contemporary India's political scenario. Dr. Ambedkar was one of the illustrious sons of India who struggled throughout his life to restructure the Indian society on humanitarian and egalitarian principles. He was not only the greatest son of India, but also a distinguished scholar of international repute. He led various social movements for the emancipation of the oppressed, rather the Dalits and the Bahujans. He contributed for the understanding of the socio-economic, political problems of India through his scholarly works on caste, religion, culture, philosophy, constitutional law, economic development, and so on. Annihilation of caste can be addressed as the magnum opus of Dr. Ambedkar. It is really a manifesto of Indian democratic revolution. You cannot have social reform. You cannot have political reform. You cannot have economic reform unless you kill this monster of caste. He also added that we cannot destroy the caste system unless you destroy the religious sanction behind the caste system. Dr. Ambedkar wanted to make a complete India into a complete democratic country by making our political democracy into a social and economic democracy. He summed up his ideology as equality, fraternity, and liberty, which formed an inseparable trinity. Without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over many. Equality without liberty would kill the individual initiative. Without fraternity, liberty and equality could not become a natural course of things. The constitutional democracy he proposed was combined by fundamental rights, women rights, and the safeguards for the marginalized and the proportional representation of power for every section of the society. The Dalits of India will never get liberated. They will get liberated unless they get political power in their own hands. The parliamentary democracy with state socialism was his scheme for establishing a welfare state. He opposed Brahminism because it negates equality and preaches supremacy of dominance of casteism. He also rejected Marxism because it advocated the dictatorship of proletariat. He further observed that Marxism has failed to address the problem aroused out of social structure. In his writings, Marx or Buddha, he asked what will be replaced when dictatorship goes. He wanted to adopt the principles of one man, one value in all walks of life, including economic life. Presently, the world is facing grave crisis of economic inequality. The differences between the haves and the have-nots are on increasing mode. The large number of people, irrespective of their ethnicity, is excluded from the wealth and resources. People are brutally pushed towards poverty. The wealth is concentrated into the hands of the few, and market dictatorship has become the dictum of the day. The whole world is looking towards an alternative. In this context, Ambedkarism offers new hopes for social reconstruction and economic emancipation. While concluding, we could definitely say that the Ambedkar is a text which has not been explored by the world so far. Finally, it is appreciated that the United Nations decided to observe April 14, the birthday of Dr. Ambedkar, as the World Knowledge Day. Let us hope that the people of India in particular and the world as general will realize Ambedkar's relevance to undo the riddles of the present world. With these words, I inaugurate this webinar. Thank you all. Jai Bhim.
Thank you, sir. It is a great pleasure to have you for inaugurating our event.
Next, we are moving on to the felicitation of the event. Now, I am inviting Mr. Akhil Matthew Shaji, Assistant Professor of Department of Social Work, Sahijodi Arts and Science College, Kumle. So, welcome you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, good afternoon to all. I feel so happy and proud to be a part of this great event, great program that is a national webinar on the theme titled Relevance of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the Current Scenario. The program, the national webinar organized by the Adi Lokmanch and the Social Work Department students of Mighty College, Kuttikanam, in association with Sahijodi Arts and Science College, Kumli. So, on the behalf of all, especially on behalf of the Department of Social Work, Sahijodi College, the Department HOD, Mrs. Tasnima M. Kabir, and Department Faculty, Sister Shinsi, I wholeheartedly express my thanks and gratitude for involving me and our department in this great program. As in the inaugural session, the Ambedkar sir had told the major contributions of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to our nation. In addition to this, I would like to add some few points regarding this topic. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he has quoted. I would like to quote his words, that is, he had mentioned, you cannot build a nation based on the foundation of caste. You cannot build anything. You cannot build morality. This was the words of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. In this words, I would like to take two major points, that is nation building and the other point is morality building. Two major aspects. So, I would like to say that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, in his contribution to the Indian nation, he had concentrated more on these two aspects, that is nation building and building up of morality among the people of India. In addition to this point, I would like to add one more point, that is, as we know, in our program, in this webinar, a student from my college had read the preamble of our nation. In the preamble, as we know, there are mainly four major core values. That is, first point is liberty, liberty of thought, expression, faith, and belief. The second core value is equality, equality of status and opportunity. The third core value is justice. That means maintaining justice among the social justice, equality, social justice, political justice, and economic justice. The last point is, last core value is fraternity. Fraternity means maintaining the dignity of individual, the sense of unity and integrity of the nation. So, when we think about this theme, that is the relevance of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the current scenario, we can connect to one more point, that is, as we know, the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who is the architect of Indian Constitution, not only he is non-famous, for main fields. As we know, he is a major social reformer, he is a social activist, he has done several changes or contributions to ensure social security, social welfare programs, social order, social justice, social equality, and his contribution or his major theme was to bring forward, to empower or to uplift the weaker or the disadvantaged sections of the society into the mainstream, as our ambulations are set. So by taking this theme, I think that this is very much apt and relevant topic which we need to discuss more about it. When we think about major fields, that is in the field of education, in the field of policy making, in the field of governance, in the field of public affairs, in the field of finance, when we take each area, we must make a self-introspection that the core values put forward by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is whether followed or not. I think there will be only one answer. As per the values put forward by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, is not at all being followed in any of the fields which I had mentioned. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is a famous educationalist. He is a known famous for financial expert, economist. He embarked and his contributions was to many of the areas. His major pinpoint was to maintain social equality, to ensure social justice, to keep up social order, and to eradicate all the social problems from the Indian society. When we think about this topic, it is very much relevant that the relevance of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the current scenario. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude and thanks to Lenin, Father Lenin, also to the staffs of ADI, especially the coordinators, Ashwini Madam, Vibin sir, and all the social worker students who are actively involved to conduct this program, especially the students of Marine College and students of Security College, social work students. Thank you.
Thank you, Agil sir, for taking up your valuable time for facilitating of your program. We have another guest to facilitate the event, that is Brother Joseph Charu Plakal, Head of the Department of School of Social Work, Marian College, Kumpana. Sir,
Okay, thank you, Ma, for the warm welcome. Dear Ambedkar sir and Father Lenin and faculty and students from Sakijodi College, Kumule, and today's resource person and all the dignitaries participants. I'm so happy that this webinar, there is a platform to discuss the relevance of Dr. Ambedkar in the current scenario. We are very much in need of it. It is in the apt time that we have are organizing this webinar. And I would like to congratulate Adi for organizing it in collaboration with Marian College, Sakijodi College, and Lokmanch, etc. I'm also happy that the social work students or the trainees from Sakijodi College and Marian College are actively involved in organizing this. I would like to congratulate all the team of all these institutions and organizations. And I wish everything best for this webinar, and I don't prolong. I wish everything best for the listen to the talk and have a fruitful discussion, and wish everything best. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Joseph Charu Plakal, for your excellent facilitation. You did it very good, and you have great wishes. It was a great time for us to both of you having felicitation for our event. So now I invite Dr. Rahul Alinji, educational policy expert, research consultant, and major in B.R. Ambedkar and educational thought, to handle the next session. Before handling his section, I would introduce him with a few words. First of all, he is an education policy expert, research consultant, and major in Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and education thoughts. He has completed his master's in user experience research from Copenhagen School of Design and Technology, Denmark. PhD from Roskilde University, Denmark. MASc in Lifelong Learning Policy and Management. MA in Education from Pune University. Intercultural teacher from John Coping University, Sweden. He has professional experience in external culture, teaching and supervising, teacher, educator, and a yoga instructor. So welcome you, sir, for handling the next section of our event.
Okay, thank you. Um, Thank you so much. I hope everybody can hear me. If you do, then please play
Yes,
along
sir.
with me. Yeah,
Yes,
please
sir.
along with play along with me. And again, I request everybody, if you are not mute, please mute. So you will not hear my echo, and the message I am holding today for you, all there will pass on. That is purpose I'm here, and nothing will be greater than that if you get the message from me to you. So first of all, I really thanks to all respected member, and all my brother and sister up there, and my friends, and I can see some of my colleagues are popping up. So happy to see all of them, and so glad to
Yes,
getting
Dr. Bhaskar
interact.
is also there, sir.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dr. Bhaskar is there, your friend. He only introduced you to us. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being resource person. Welcome, sir. Continue.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Father.
So very happy to have him. We always enjoy discussion, and today also I wanted to have this interaction with you as a discussion. Not as a like a lecture, and lecture that everybody take in with them and then forget in a few minutes time later. I want you to take something with you and practice it. Until unless you put in the practice, nothing will work out. As recently I said in one of my Facebook posts that we have been talking about Ambedkar so long, but now it's time to implement him. So then Ambedkar becomes us. As soon as we started implementing him through our activities, through our life, and through our education, what we learn from him. So you know when I think about that, what makes me qualified to talk about Ambedkar. So three reasons comes to my mind. Well, first reason is that I have been studying Ambedkar since my childhood. My grandfather used to bring books, and he used to talk about, he was activist, and he was participating a lot of activity organized by Dr. B. Ambedkar, and he also visited my hometown in Manmad, where he was a participator, and he was playing an important role in that organizing that event, where Dr. B. Ambedkar gave a lectures to the railway worker, which was one of the very interesting facts, and not many people know about Manmad, which is close to the Mumbai, in fact close to the Nasik city in Maharashtra. So that was, that's a tradition I got from my home, and so I study him much more when I came to Mumbai. When I got admission in Pune, I got I learned more about him. But more than that, I'm the one who try to implement whatever he says, so that makes me a little qualified to talk about him. Another reason I feel like I feel myself qualified to talk about in this event is because I am still my students. I feel like I'm still students, and I wanted to be student, and I wanted to have a conversation with the student. And you are all their students, and I'm so happy to connect with you. So that's why I feel like so happy to have a conversation with you. And another thing I wanted to say, which I think that makes me very excited to have a conversation with you, because I come from very family. It's not a pathetic story I want to tell you, but it's a nice story which I'm very proud of it, that I come from the family which was very poor, and the family which hold the value high, not with the money, but not other things, but teaching and the value it hold very high, especially my mother. And because I come from the very poor family, I can relate you very well, because my father used to drink and my mother used to work in onion factory. So I see the struggling them to make me educated. So I feel that maybe perhaps some of you have the similar condition. In that sense, I feel that I'm very much linked to you, and wanted to participate to you. So what I'm going to talk about today, I'm taking away. Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Did you lose the part which I said earlier?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me start you from this slide, and saying that I bring three questions which I will discuss uh, in in the next few minutes. Uh, may I request somebody that there is some background noise I can hear, which are making lot of disturbance.
Sibin, could you mute all?
Is it okay? Better? Is it
Sibin
better
Lal?
now? Is it better now?
No,
Yes, yes.
no. Kindly please put off all. Yeah. Now you can continue, sir.
Okay, can you hear me, everybody? Please pay attention. That you
Yes, sir.
mute
Yes, sir.
yourself.
Now
Yeah.
okay.
So then the message can go pass on. Great. So after thinking of that, what I would like to share with you. So three questions came in mind. Three questions which is making me wonder. When I talk about Ambedkar from the educational angle. So first question is that what Baba Sahib, I would say Baba Sahib, I would not say Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, because Baba Sahib is close to my heart, so I will use the word Baba Sahib. So what Baba Sahib said to us, Baba Sahib gave a two very interesting idea. He said that as a student, how you behave, how you see yourself, how you structure yourself. And then another thing, he talked about education through his various speeches. So that I will highlight while as we go on. The second question, which we will discuss, is that how we can relate, what kind of thoughts Ambedkar had, what practices he had, and how we can relate him to the present world, how we can take him forward while having his legacy, having his idea, having his direction to the future. And then when we go to the future, I will say something about how I see Ambedkar as a relevant to us, and how it could be relevant to our audience by putting my own some inputs into that. So okay, so whatever I will say today about students, so I will refer to one of the book. I don't know whether you know this book. So this book is actually written in Marathi, but it says in Marathi, Vidyarthano Jagrut Bhav, which I translated, stay awake. Students should be always awake when they are students. So I will take a lot of stories and a lot of inputs from his books to convey you about what he was trying to say in this speech which he gave in 1937 in Pune, when he was interacting with the students, and there was a lot of noise around him that he doesn't talk so much with the students, and he is busy with the politics, he is busy with the caste issue, and so on and so forth. That time he said himself that, look, I am a student and I will remain a student all my life. And that is true, that everyone remains student all his life. No one become a master. Everybody learn all the time, and all the conditions and all the ages. So that is a very true and remarkable speech he has given to the students. And then he's talked about students issues. So one of the issue which I feel today is also very much relevant is the first one, the one which is self-believing. Actually, Dr. Ambedkar, at that time and also in today, they very emphasize that a lot of students, when they studies, and especially when they take a higher education, they lack self-belief. They don't believe that they can think themselves, they can implement their thinking. So that's where he really be putting his stress and saying that, look, you should treat self-belief as nothing less than a god. If you have a self-belief, it could be as strong as believing in any god. When you go to any god, when you go to any temple, when you go into any place to worship, you believe the supreme power will help you. He compared self-belief is similar way. He said, if you believe something, now make sure that when you decided something to do, when you decided to do something, then make sure that that belief remains with you. That belief give you a strong motive, and not only the motive, but it you need to add something into that, and that is a consistency. He said self belief will not help you only, so you have to work towards that. You have to work, you have to make plan towards that, you have to work towards that direction, then you will be able to achieve your aims. So he give the example of one wrestler. According to him, what happened is that when somebody, you might have seen the Dangal movie, but maybe you have generally seen the wrestling competition, and normally those people who went to the wrestling, and if they get afraid before they started wrestling, they will never win the wrestling. And he asked them to believe that even if you are not strong enough, even if you are not um, yeah, you're not up to that point, but believe it that you can do it. And then if you can't do it, then make sure you make a plan, you make a consistency habit, you make a workout such achieving goals, and then slowly walk towards that. Then you will be able to achieve that goals. He also said that when you study something, you should have the study such a habit in your body, such a habit in your mind, that you cannot live without reading something, you cannot live without planning something. So he compared his knowledge earning. He said that that when I don't read a book, I become restless. So I need something to read all the time. So that's my habit, and it's such a strong habit that nothing compares to me. And he also said that he gave the example, this is a funny example, but he gave the example that he said the students that you should have knowledge earning habit such a strong that you can see that when somebody who is drunk, who is drinking every times, cannot, if he doesn't find the wine, he becomes crazy. So you should become like that. When you earn the knowledge, you shouldn't be drink. I don't mean that you should drink. I mean that you should earn the knowledge all the time, and you read all the time, because that's going to save you, that's going to work out you. So self-belief and consistency as an important part of his discussion when he give the speech, and he give a lot of emphasis on that. And that's something we can learn from him even today also. It's very relevant and applicable in our day-to-day life. Then he had a very important part. He had an extremely important part into education. He said, educated person, he will be not be useful to the society until unless he has a patience, and until and as he has a Sheila or Shil. Shil is the it's a word which he borrowed from the Buddhist philosophy, and actually, if you put it very rawly, it could be a character or humility. So what he's trying to say here is that you should use your knowledge the best of your ability, but at the same time you should have the morals and you should have the humility when you use the knowledge and implement the knowledge. Now what he does, he give the metaphor of the sword. So when you have sword in your hand, you can use in both way. You can kill somebody and you can save somebody. So he said it's a double, knowledge is a double blade. It depends on you how you wanted to use it. You can protect the people and you can unprotect the people. So some of the example you can see within in India, there's some people who are very well educated, but they use their knowledge for the wrong of the habits and use the wrong way to make the people fool. And that's why what happened is that one has to learn that not only education is important, but the moral you learn, with the moral and the morality you implement, is also a important, equally important part. So having a student, having a consistency, having self-belief, you travel to gain the knowledge. And what you do, the gaining knowledge, then you use the knowledge with the principle of sila and patience to help your society. And perhaps this will speak a louder than the words, that this graph, this I find it one place, and I saw this one, and it was really interesting to see how this person is talking about the passing man who has written about the scavengers, but he refused to take the shake hand. So that when you apply the shield, it does not mean that you don't understand these people. So you work with so closely, you write about them, but when you don't feel the pain they are feeling, then that time the shield wouldn't work it. So your knowledge, whatever knowledge you have knowledge about computer, you have knowledge about certain arts or certain field, you should use the sake of well-being of the general people. And it's not a welfare program, but I think the whole idea is that you should hold the moral as well as the high education. Then uh, then he then let me make it a little more romantic. So not romantic, let me more make it interesting by saying that what he meant, what he meant when he talked about students to be knowledgeable, self reliable, self understandable, and more than that, he when he said that you should have consistency and Sheila, he also says that the students should very selfish. Student has to be selfish. They should not worry about where they were, where they're studying, whom they are learning. They should just learn. Their dharma is a learning, so they should continue with the learning. So let me tell you a very small story, and I hope this story will pass on the message. The passage, and this is story written by Ambedkar. So he says that there was a battle between Rakshasa and Deva. So what happened? The battle begins, and then suddenly Devas, they find out that Rakshasas are winning the battle, and they are out of number. So they come up with the idea that what could be done. So they find out the solution, the why the Rakshasa is not winning the battle, because the Guru Acharya has a knowledge of Sanjivini. So because he has a knowledge of Sanjivini, he could make a dead person alive. So when you make a dead person alive, the Rakshasa was not dying. They were keep getting reborn or not reborn but re-alive. So then what happened, that their number still remained, but the the Deva who were losing the battles, they make a plan. They make a plan and they make sure that one of the Devini, from Devini, which is the daughter of Guru Acharya. So they said that we should send a one Deva. So they send a one Deva. He falls in love with the Devini, which is daughter of Guru Acharya. So then what happened, that he started learning the knowledge of Sanjivini. But when Rakshasa came to know that that there is a plan here, that he want to learn the Vidya and then go back to the Devas. So they kill him, burn him and make his ashes, put in the wine and give it to the Guru Granacharya, so he can drink all the ashes and store the that Deva, his name is Kacha, in the stomach, so nobody can know what happens. But unfortunately, Devini knows that this happens. So Devini goes to her father and say, no, you have to take him out. You have to make him alive. And you have to teach him the whole journey. And he explained to his daughter that, no, you should not do that, else we will lose the war. So she said, no, no, you have to do it. And then because his daughter is requesting, he makes sure they take him out, he make him alive, and then he teach the whole Sanjeevani knowledge. And what happened, Kacha, as soon as he finishes education, he run away from everything. He goes to the other political party Devas, and then he teach the same Vidya. So a lot of people, Ambedkar says here, from this story that a lot of people say Kacha is a bad person, is a bad. But according to Ambedkar, he is not bad. What he did, he strive for the education. He strive for the education, and that morals we need to take it. We are surrounded, and now let me put into the today's context. Now we are surrounded with so many Brahminical and upper caste, so-called upper caste, and peoples who have institutions and have a lot of resources. But what we need to do, we have to learn from them. We have to get inspiration from them. We have to learn it, adopt it, and then bring it back to us and our people. So until unless we make ourselves so smart, we are so selfish, until and we don't do that, we will not get it. So we have to think that an opportunity. And here is a quote what Ambedkar says, that no man can be grateful at the cost of his honor, and no man can be grateful, no woman can be grateful of the cost of her chastity, and no nation can be grateful at the cost of its liberty. So the honor is very important for the man, as much as the as much as the liberty is important to the nation. And he say we should strive everything in order to get it. So that is point he is making through his speeches. And let me also say one important thing, that when Ambedkar talked about students, he say students should always stay away from the politics. He say they should be take responsibility in the early stage, to get united, to get together, but never enter the politics. First finish your education, first make sure that you are well educated, because all about education. If you have education, you have employment, then you can you can be better contributor to the his mission. Because a lot of time now I see, especially in my hometown, a lot of young people are not educated well enough, and they are so politically active. So what happened is that Dr. Ambedkar, or Baba Sahib said very clearly that if you started fighting without education, your failure is 100% sure. So if you wanted to be make your mark in the society, if you wanted to make something good for the society, something for the well-being for our people, we have to educate it highly. Another thing, which another question which I listed here, that was the first question, where Ambedkar started asking us how should we be as a student. So he's asking us to be self-confident, consistent. Then he asked us to be a believer, your own will. And then he asking us to be remain selfish. At the same time, he is also asking us to, if you are a student, you should never give up the habit of earning knowledge. And then after saying that you should stay away from the politics, he also say, the next question which I wanted to discuss with you and put in front of you, that when Baba Sahib say that how he make current, how he makes so much sense to us, Ambedkar's legacy, how does it reveal to us? So first of all, as Adi organizations, well, I must say there's this all the introduction I got earlier. It sounds so well in line with what I'm talking here, that not many people knows, but Baba Sahib Ambedkar was a extremely lover of animals. He loves keeping the dogs. He likes so much dogs, so he always spend time with them. Not many people knows about that. that character we still can use it, that character we can still understand it. Another, this letter which I'm citing here, which was written by Ambedkar's friend, and when he wrote this letter, he is explaining the graviness, the sorrowness about losing a deer which he was looking after. So that what we can relate to him when we talk about the environment, we talk about the indigenousness, we talk about our forest. All these things can be seen as from this point of view. Another very important thing we should see, and a lot of honorable speaker already listed that, we see Ambedkar as a hope because he talks about humanity, he talks about equality. So we have to see him as a future, as a hope that whatever he has given us, now it's time to understand it, implement it, and take it further. And I don't know how many people know, but Dr. Ambedkar was a very much advocate of learning in English. So if he says that if you wanted to do something, you have to be master. You have to extremely master a language, and if you learn the English, your voice will not listen in within India, but it will go reach out to the world. It will go out the world, and that is a very important skills one has to have it when we understand what Ambedkar's trying Ambedkar's relevance in today's world, because he said that if you're not understanding English, you will not pass your message to mass audience. It's very important to localize, but while localizing something, you have to think about globalize and also spread our message to globalize. That what happens cannot be just share and remain in the localities, but also goes beyond and reach to everybody. So again, I quoted one of the newsletter where he advocates English language should be the important language and should play play important role in uh, India's education system and also parliamentary procedures. So now this is the last question I'm coming to you, and I hope that I'm not making you uh, making you too overload with my ideas or the thought I'm sharing. But I will briefly finish by sharing two very important things where I see Ambedkar is still very relevant, and this is very important. That last questions, how the Baba Sahib see us as the future of unfolds. So let me start with my example. I don't know about many other people. I'll just try to give my own example. When I started my education, I was the BA student, and as I progressed, I did a lot of changes in my career. So now I'm working as one of the expert in the IT field. So it has nothing to do with me. I never learned IT. I mean, Bhaskar and my other colleagues would tell me that IT has nothing to do with me. But here I am. I'm working with the IT guys. I'm helping with the designing products, and also I'm using my education principles and psychological sociological principles to implement and make a better life for the customers. So what what I'm trying to say from this example is not to make me very high, but trying to set the example. A lot of time in India we earn one degree, let's say BA in education, or BA, a BSc or MCom. We do have this degree, and what happened after this degree, we do MA, and we think that okay, we should have a very high class job. Ambedkar opposed that idea in that time. The Ambedkar says, and there's a very funny story he described during the lecture. He said there was a time when somebody become a BA, and if you send a letter and you just write a name of a BA, the letter will go to that person, because that time the education was not taken by so many people, so anybody can recognize you. But now that everybody is so well educated, that he funnily said that if you take a stone and throw away in the audience, it will hit to somebody who is MA or MSc or MCom. So in that sense is what he was trying to say, that earning a degree is a no guarantee of having any job. He disagree with the people who say that okay, I have MA and I should have a job immediately. He said no, it's just a beginning of earning your intellectual, being independent by yourself to walk on that path. So what he's trying to say us, and that time also, that degrees, you when you listed your degree and say, well, I should have a job. No, that's not. And now the challenge, because it's a global world, the challenge even become more. So you have to combine your education with various different fields. If you are a psychology students, go to the companies, try to talk with the companies, try to talk with them that how your psychology knowledge is relevant to their companies, and then you will find a better job. If you are a sociologist, go to the companies, tell them that why it's important they should take care of their environment, their employees social welfare, so on and so forth. So you have to stretch out, your field within yourself, and then trying to spread in a long way, that where you can make a more contract and more opportunity for yourself. And last, very important thing one has to understand, that while you're doing this, you have to be very careful, that you have to be make sure that you spend little time for yourself. Your mental and your physical well-being as equally important as when you pursue your career, when you pursue your education, when you're pursuing any goal you set in your life. So let me also little bit, touch upon this is additional point from my side, where I look at, and I advocate and I suggest a lot of people that, a lot of people think that, it's not important to talk um, about about the new emerging scenario, especially in the pandemic situation. But I do think that, there is a point where you could use this information, and I listed here in the PPT, and I'm giving example from the Denmark, because in Denmark, social enterprise is such a popular phenomenon, and 90% of the employment and 90% of the money comes from the small and medium enterprises. So if looking forward, and let me connect now what where I started. I started when Baba Ambedkar want us to, as a student, what needs to be done. So when you're well educated, you have a Sheila. When you have a keep yourself away from all the hurdles, and now you are entering into employment, then you have your own businesses. That should be the futures. You should own your own, you should own your employee. You should create opportunity for your own people. And when you do that, then it becomes sense to look at what Baba Sahib want us for the next steps, because that's where Baba Sahib say, here is the slide when you say educated, until unless you educated, you cannot go forward. Then agitate and then organize. Because the what happening is, in the current scenario, Ambedkar is just remain in the books. Ambedkar remains in the speech. Ambedkar remains in the April's festivals, and that must should be happen. What value he's trying to teach us, that there is a next step. Now we are educated, we are very well educated. The mass majority of SC ST students are getting highly educated. Now the next steps, as soon as you get to settle down, as soon as you get in a well formidable lifestyle, make sure you get agitated, you started getting organized, because then we will move to the political struggles, because all this comes later. And if you just jumping to the politics from beginning, you will now never be a success. And that's what Medkar said very rightly in the beginning, from the very beginning. That's from me. Please, if you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to take them on.
Thank you, sir. Your excellent session. You had an informative and enlightened for us, and you have a clear view towards a topic. So thank you, sir, for one last moment again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Rahul Ayanju, for your motivational speech and handling this section. Next, we have a session for discussion on this topic. So let me invite Mr. Subin Sabo. BSW student from Sahyajyoti Arts and Science College, Kumri. So welcome, Subin.
Good evening, everyone. This is time to ask your questions and clarification. Now, if you have questions and clarification, now you can unmute your mic and ask you type it in the chat box.
Rahul sir.
Yes, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, sir. So it was very good. I am sure our participants will have doubts or clarifications.
Yes. Please feel free to ask any question. Maybe it's relevant. Don't think about that your question is not relevant or not. Just ask. I will be more than happy to answer any question.
And also they can ask in local language. I can
Hello, Rahul sir.
translate for
I
you,
have a
sir.
question. I have a question.
Please.
Go ahead.
Okay. Why are Dr. Ambedkar's ideas so important to understanding the lives of the oppressed today? Not in just India, globally, but globally.
Can you just
Okay.
again say? Yeah.
Okay, sir. Ambedkar's ideas so important to understanding the lives of oppressed people today, not just in India, but globally.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is extremely relevant at the moment. You can see, as somebody host has already said that it's Dr. Ambedkar's Jayanti is getting celebrated in the UN and it's getting more and more recognitions. So what is happening, and Ambedkar is not taught so much and reached to abroad. And let me give you one example that what happened in Denmark. Now we recently had a celebration here, and when we had this celebration, I had a conversation in the Indian embassy, and when I was talking with them, they said we have no way of celebrating it because there was no order came to them. And I said, but can't you take any action at the local level? And they say they refuse to do that because the thing is that we have to we have to take him Ambedkar to the people, and this not many people. I mean, now slowly a lot of people started reading Ambedkar in Denmark, especially. There not many awareness was there. His work, his studies. So now slowly Ambedkar reaching out. But also, I mean, it extremely relevant when we talked about the imbalance of the economy, economical issue or the race issue in America. Ambedkar becoming slowly symbolized, slowly coming up. But still, I think that it's a mile away. We are to that level when we started saying that okay, he's everywhere.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Am I answering your question rightly?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, maybe. Hope you clarify your doubts. Any more doubts you have?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, Bhaskar sir.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Father P.S. Lenin and Dr. Rahul. I don't have any question, but I want to. I like that Dr. Rahul said. Now there is a time to implement Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's thoughts because we listen, we talk, we discuss, we read about Dr. Ambedkar, but for these this goodness and all, we have to implement his thoughts in our day-to-day life. I'll request Rahul sir if he will tell us how can we implement his thought in our daily life.
Excellent question. Thank you, Bhaskar. And uh, I would really like to answer this question. I feel that it's very up to the point of this whole debate. So look, the way I think it, how we can implement Ambedkar, we start with a very small concept which we coin all the time. We talked about equality. Okay, so we need to reflect that how much equality we put in our house. Okay, how much equally we treat our kids when it's come to the give education. So we have to think in that way. Okay, that's one example. Another example that Dr. Ambedkar gives so much emphasis on education. Okay,
Chat box.
how much really we want our kids to how much we really let us our kids to do the education they really want to deserve wanted to pursue, you know. So of course there are difficulties of economical difficulties and other difficulties, but are we pushing are we not pushing them in a certain direction? Are we not letting them to express themselves? Because if we are already setting a trap for them, what they should do and what they shouldn't, then I think that here we are you know, here no, we are not letting them go away. uh, that's a educational part. Now let me come back to the daily life. How when we do things, for example, when we talked about Buddhism, you know, a lot of people said, okay, I'm a Buddhist, I'm following Buddhism, and that's very nice, you know, when you say to, but what values you really practice day to day? Do you, when you say something about Buddhism, do you really know what is Panchashila means? Do you know how do you implement them? How do you, and even if it's a very small things, you know, but we need to understand it as educated, you know. I'm not expecting that a poor person and uneducated person will understand what I'm saying to them, but are we making that environment? That's the whole point, from starting from the home. Are we making that environment within our house? Are we making this environment within our community? Are we making this environment within our educational institution? Are we making this you know, as a social part it in? So until unless we do that and we stand out and started talking about it, it will not go away. It will not go there and implement that. So, and that way I could say that, you know, we can start thinking about it. And as long as the students consider, I think that the students should really try to understand Ambedkar and what he want us to do, you know, and if they are mature enough to understand what Ambedkar wanted to suggest us as a being a students, you know, then they will be get off very quickly, you know. I mean, nowadays, you know, student also wanted to search for the they look for the shortcuts, and that's not be the should be the issue, because once you have master given, you have very good in something. Dr. Ambedkar said, you know, very interesting said. He said in Marathi, he said, "Ekna dhad barabar chindya." So he used that phrase to explain you that do not do so many things. Do not do so many things. If you do 1,000 things and if you do 10 things at one time, you will be never success. So focus on one thing, and that's what he call is. If you want to call yourself a narrow-minded, but be so specific what you want to do, how you want to do, and pursue that. So don't take too many jobs. Just take one and complete that one, because that will give you direction to your life and your success.
Yes, thank you, Rahul.
Pleasure. I hope I try to justify.
I think on girl from Bihar, Kushi wants to share her views on this. Let us listen to her. Kushi, you are there?
Yes, Father. Good evening.
Yeah, Kushi, please. You have a question?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kushi Kashyap. I am a student of Dr. D.Y. Patil, Pushpalata Patil International School from Patna. I am here to present my views on the sayings of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Here are some quotes by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar that teaches us what real education and freedom mean. I like the religion that teaches liberty, equality, and fraternity. Life should be great rather than long. Sincerity is the sum of all moral values. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar knew that education was the necessary precondition for the reconstruction of the society. He fought for the education of masses without discrimination of caste. participation in the budget to debate, he said, education is something which should be brought within the reach of everyone. He founded the People's Education Society and started colleges at Mumbai and Aurangabad. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kushi. I think our students from Marian College and Sahi Jodi, many are attending this webinar. They have some questions to you, sir. Rahul sir, let us listen to their questions.
Yes, happy to listen them.
Hello,
Happy,
sir.
very happy to listen them.
Yeah,
Hello.
carry on. Yeah.
Sir, we celebrate Gandhi Jayanti. Hello.
Yeah, carry on. We can hear you.
Carry on.
Biham Sultana. Carry on.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Sir, why we didn't celebrate Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Jayanti on April 14 in India? In India, I think in everywhere. Is it relevant today? But
Well, you are asking why we are not celebrating.
Majority from among us didn't knowing about there is a day for Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Jayanti. Is it relevant today? But majority from us didn't know. That's why.
Well,
Rahul sir.
as long as you know what is Ambedkar is, what he stand for you, and as long as you know that what he spoke for me, for whom he spoke for it, I wouldn't say that the Jayanti is as important as celebrating his thoughts. Ambedkar often say that the thoughts are more important and it needs water, and if we give the waters to his thoughts, nothing better celebration than that. But of course, if you wanted to see have a cozy feeling, as we were child and we were dancing in the Jayanti Utsav, and that's all things are was wonderful, to recall Ambedkar. But at the moment, I guess the whole is infected with the pandemic, and we should not our peoples, we should not get more into the celebration, because we want them to be safe, because if you are safe, then you will be celebrate many more Jayantis coming in the future.
Sir, I don't mean like that celebration. From my
Okay.
personal view, majority from among us, like my colleagues, they didn't never know that there is a day for Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. But all they are know who is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, but they didn't know there is a day for Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Jayanti.
Yeah, I guess it's something to do with the education, perhaps maybe awareness, or as some talking of one of the thing is, when somebody stand up and talking about Ambedkar, immediately people started feeling fear about it, because the thing is that his thought is such a strong, when you started reading it, so the majority of people, if you are quoting some people, they all are divided, they call them some majority, but we all are divided in small groups. So well, I would say that still there is a not enough education about how we celebrate this Diwali, or sorry, celebration of the B.R. Ambedkar. But nonetheless, I would say that in 2015 there was uh, a circular was passed on by the government of India, and I think that time it was celebrated officially everywhere, and in Denmark it was celebrated even better, because that time the one of our person was in the embassy as ambassador in a delegate position, so he makes sure that he spread it, he bring it out to the people, he tell them what is that. And when even I started having a conversation about Ambedkar in Denmark, people not know much about him. So it takes awareness, the awareness takes that time, and it will take, as soon as people started reading Ambedkar, they started finding out it. A lot of people praise in Denmark about various leaders, but when they started reading about Ambedkar, they say, oh, he has such a great contributions. And I guess in India, my feeling is, I may be wrong, but my feeling is that, people tend to avoid Ambedkar because it's so difficult to stand by his thought and stand by his work. His work. So better keep distance. Might be they thinking. I guess that's something maybe reason.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Sir, I
Thank you.
think not only that, yes, sir, Rahul sir.
Yes.
South Indians, they don't know that he is better than even Gandhi. They all celebrate Gandhi Jayanti, not Ambedkar Jayanti. South Indian, he is connected with the caste. So caste is one of the major thing which I think. I mean, when you speak about Ambedkar, then they think you are someone. I mean, not okay or untouchable. And the mind is still, I mean, that kind of discriminatory dimension is there. For untouchability is unknowingly in our South Indian or in Kerala. Maybe that is the main reason. Maybe we don't know that, as that girl said, Sultana. Many of our friends, they don't know. They know about all other birthdays, but not Ambedkar's birth, because it is somewhat other from family background. He is the greatest man, maybe the most educated man in the world, but he is not given proper importance because of our cultural or other dimensions. Not properly educated. That is the reason. We are not educated. We are not given proper awareness about the greatness of Ambedkar.
Exactly, Father.
So we know nobody is named after Ambedkar, but many are named after all other Sonia or all any Gandhi. All names are given except Ambedkar. No Malayali is named Ambedkar except some Dalits belongs to SC or ST. Even ST I don't see. Very few will see. If you say you are Ambedkar, means you are looked down. That is the saddest thing in our state. I would say Kerala or state I don't know. I think in Maharashtra and so on, they celebrate literally. His birth, his greatness is known there, not in our state. It's very sad and pathetic. We, the people of Kerala, don't celebrate Ambedkar Jayanti in a proper way.
Father, can I add one thing?
Please, sir, please.
Yeah, see, it is a tragedy that the middle class people, the rich, the middle class, and the influential people, the media, the literary person, they keep a deliberate silence on the importance and greatness of Dr. Ambedkar. That is the reason on April 14th, if you look the newspapers of Kerala, Malayalam Manorama, Ambedkar was not a news, no article on Ambedkar. Even the less important individuals born in Kerala, if then the birthdays or their important days related to such individuals is taken as a whole page news, sometimes special stories. Why such a literary state like Kerala, medias are silent. No channel was actually scheduled a program to discuss about the ideology of Ambedkar or the philosophy of the Ambedkar or the contribution of Ambedkar. No newspaper has rarely maybe some minority owned newspapers, suppose Madhyamam, some Muslim owned newspapers. Another one is Suprabhatam. It's again managed by a Muslim community. They asked me to write an article, but Madhurumi, no. Manorama, no. Mangalam, Indian Express, Hindu. Sometimes Hindu gives some coverages and articles. Another important thing is, I want to sensitize that. You know what happened to the film of Dr. Ambedkar, funded by National Film Development Corporation? They spent more than 9 crores rupees. And Mammootty was the actor in that film, and actually Dr. Ambedkar film. Kerala is the only state, perhaps, the film has not been released so far, open to the people. It has not come to the theater. You can understand why. That is the degree, that is the level of indifference of the people about Ambedkar. Mammootty has won the national award for acting in that film, and Jabbar Patel from Maharashtra was the director. In Tamil Nadu, this film has went to the theater, and they have dubbed it into Tamil language. Many other regional languages has dubbed, but in Kerala, even today, people has no right to see it in theater. No University of Kerala, they have chairs of Ambedkar, serious studies on Ambedkar, and Ambedkar is not at all a subject in the universities. But many international universities, they study the ideology and scheme of Ambedkar. So this is the kind of Brahminical caste mentality towards Ambedkar. But at the same time, all Indians, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion, and territory, is indebted to Ambedkar because he has only given the Constitution of India, the most beautiful, the biggest constitution, democratic constitution. So even the Brahmins, even the upper caste, they had to be grateful to Ambedkar. But it is a tragedy that only it is the scheduled caste people or maybe the backwards, they are only organizing some functions and celebrating.
I just a little point I want to add. Ambedkar Baba Sahib said in one of his speech, he said that and on his time, he said, if you go to any judicial system, the judges belong to so-called upper caste, and the clerk is belong to that. The lawyer who defending it belong to certain upper ideology. So you are against of everything, and that's why you should not be demotivate yourself. And further he go on and then saying that the point you will realize that you are the diamonds which is lying in the mud, then you will be started doing your own work. So I believe that everything is possible, even in Kerala, if one started and educating about ones and spreading the awareness. Yes, that's just additional.
Any other question our students may ask? Yeah, please ask.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat box. That is, what principle of Baba Sahib inspired you most? That is the question.
Hello, Ambedkar sir.
Yes.
Once again, I didn't hear. Seems very important question.
Hello, sir, are you here?
Yeah.
The question is, what principle of Baba Sahib inspired you most?
Very difficult to say one principle, but certainly one thing I really enjoy Baba Sahib did before he leave us. He converted into Buddhism, and I extremely so grateful for this, because when I say I'm a Buddhist and when I study about Buddhism, and especially his books Buddha and Dhamma, I feel so much relevant, and I read about Ashoka's. And yesterday I was reading a book, and to be funny part, I come across the one of the reference from the Kerala Ayyappa temple shrine, Ayyappa shrine, and then how it was turned into the, as a Buddhist well-known place, how it converted into the something else. So I think that that's principle. That's one thing he give us, and I'm feel extremely blessed that because I grew up this Buddhist value family, and that why my mother could lift me up. When my all friends were studying in India and I was wishing to go abroad, my mother said, "Well, you should go it." Nobody was, in my friend circle, nobody could, and their parents could not give this permission. But when I asked my mother back why she did it, she said that because of the whole change of the society, we belongs to this certain ideology, and because of that ideology, she's much more free. She's much force. She's seeing much more larger picture, and that what she taught me, and I believe that was coming from the Ambedkar also. And one, I would not go away with saying that Ambedkar always been my inspiration as a student. I read his work, I read his idea, and anything about a student inspired me. Anything he said about the student, it just goes to my blood.
So if questions are there, together we can students, you can lift your hand and ask questions together, then let me answer, so that I can save time.
Ambedkar,
Yes.
sir, I have a question to you.
Yeah, please.
സാർ സാറിന്റെ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവില് നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടില് SC ആണോ ഷെഡ്യൂൾഡ് കാസ്റ്റിനാണോ ഷെഡ്യൂൾഡ് ട്രൈബ്സിനാണോ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ഡിസ്ക്രിമിനേഷനും ഓപ്പറേഷനും നേരിടുന്നത്?
The question is about more discrimination. The question to Mr. Ambedkar sir.
Yes. Shall I answer it in Malayalam or English? Okay.
No, English, sir. English is better.
Okay.
Because audience can understand English.
Question is whether the scheduled caste people or the tribal people are facing more discrimination or severe discrimination. Is the question.
Or oppression, sir?
Actually, it is very difficult to differentiate the status and the discrimination and the level of oppression regarding these two communities. More or less, these two people, whenever in Dalit literature, the thoughts has influenced the so-called social activists from Dalit community, and they have started writing on or responding on social issues, and it is been known as Dalit literature after Ambedkar. So according to Dalit literature, we use the term Dalit not only to refer Dalits alone, scheduled caste alone. In our understanding, when we say Dalit, it's include scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. But even then, there are differences. Okay, both the people are the victims of the system. You know, they are the situation of Dalits and the situation of tribals are more or equal, because you know in Kerala, in many districts, even the Dalit people have not burial grounds, or they have not a piece of land to bury their deads. That is why they are forced to bury their dead bodies in the kitchen. That is the situation many places in Kerala. You know, the tribal people also, they had enough land because they were on land by their own the settlements. But nowadays, what happened? The tribal actually land has been taken away by corporates and rich people. They encroached the tribal land. They lost land. So thousands and lakhs of tribal people are with no land today, zero land. So both these people are facing the issue of landlessness. Another thing is atrocities. You know, if you take the cases or the records of the Crime Record Bureau, according to their records, atrocities are taking place against scheduled castes as well as scheduled tribes. More or less same. They are the victims of atrocity. Murder, rape, and these kinds of atrocities, insult and injuries are same. But you have to understand one main thing. Tribal people are the victim of economic exploitation. They are facing many forms of exploitation. Suppose financial exploitation, question of landlessness is there, oppression is there, murder is there, rape is there. But psychological discrimination and psychological kind of insult are less compared to scheduled caste people, because scheduled caste people are living in the midst of in the villages, Hindu villages, where the caste system is functioning in its full form, full level. So since the caste system is working in village where the Dalits or scheduled caste people are living, they are facing discrimination as well as daily insult. Psychological kind of oppression is there. But tribal peoples, since they are away from the association of these caste-minded people, and they are living their own tribal settlement, at least they are safe in the psychological war. So this grace is there with the tribal people. They are free from this insult, caste insult. Otherwise, both are facing the same situation.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambedkar, sir. Anybody have other questions?
Sir, Ambedkar, sir. ഹലോ
ഹലോ
സാർ, ഈ അംബേദ്കറിന് എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ സമൂഹത്തിൽ വേണ്ടത്ര പ്രാധാന്യം കൊടുക്കാത്തത്?
പ്രാധാന്യം കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ടപ്പ.
You see, Jawaharlal Nehru, while actually speaking about Ambedkar, he said Dr. Ambedkar is the symbol of the oppression, a symbol of revolt against the oppression existed in the Hindu society. So Ambedkar is a symbol of revolt. Ambedkar is a symbol of social revolution. Ambedkar is a symbol of this socio-economic political changes. So the Indian Orthodoxy, the Indian Brahminical people, the people sitting above the social order, they are afraid of Ambedkar. So they take Ambedkar is a dangerous man. He's a green snake in their garden. So they are afraid. They are afraid the personality of Ambedkar. They are afraid the contribution of Ambedkar. They are afraid the philosophy of Ambedkar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If any other questions you have to Dr. Rahul, kindly ask. Otherwise, last 5 minutes.
Yes, Father.
Yeah.
I have a doubt.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
there is...
I would like to ask about the Buddhist religion. And nowadays in India, the religion, Buddha religion, is very many people are changing into that religion. And do you think
Converting into that religion.
yeah. Do you think that this will make any changes in the system in India or in the Indian culture? Will it make a big difference?
Why not?
Yeah, certainly it will, no doubt about that. And that was the whole point. Baba Ambedkar's conversion was that the Baba Sahib, when he studied all his life, 36 years about caste and caste system, he find out that this monster will not go away, no matter how much he did, no matter how much he worked, how much law he makes. Because according to Ambedkar, law is not about that somebody has written in the book. Law is something which is implemented in the society and everybody respect that act. So that's why he said he was very smart. He had a couple of choices at the time, but his choice was very good at the time when he chooses, because the moment he accept Buddhism, what's happened is that you start to separate yourself from everything else. You say, I'm a Buddhist, you're Buddhist, we are equal, we have equal value. We do not have separation in Buddhism. We have maybe a different understanding like Mahayana and Hinayan and Nuyan. So these are differences are there, but when we meet each other, we have a similar thinking. We are similar. So the equality, the value of equality comes to that. Whereas if you look at the other small groups, when I talked with one of my friends who come from the from the Vanjari Samaj, and when I talked with him, he got reservations, he got everything. And then when I asked him that, what makes him so, something special. So he look at the goddess and goddesses and say, because of them, I have this blessing. So what happened is that, because they still get you, somehow you get trapped. And Baba Ambedkar, when in one of the speech in Nepal, when he was giving the speech, he said that all people in India are actually spiritually Buddhist. But problem is that because there was such a build-up happened during the various period, and I would recommend read the book, one of the written by Ashoka in his past, and that book there is a reference that how the Buddhism was slowly go away, but then when it was revived, then it revived your identity, it revived your whole ideology. So for example, I was giving an example from my family. My family was truly believing what Baba Sahib was saying. So he said, okay, educate your students. So I'm a Buddhist and I will educate my student, my kids as much as I can. So and that whole scenario go away. So you don't go to the temple. So you try to separate yourself. And as soon as you separate yourself, your aim and objective becomes very easily to achievable. And I do believe that this convergence, what it brings you, the psychological, what one of the respected speakers said, that the psychological burden go away. Okay, So I'm not anymore going to work for you, because now I have identity. I'm a Buddhist, and I will own my own farm, or I will cultivate my own farm. I will create my employability. So the whole identity issue was related to that. That goes away, and most importantly, the value system which was lost from India comes back to us, and we are the one who actually a true claimer of that. And you know, if I have like a couple of minutes, I just wanted to show you, there is a very interesting book, this Who Were Shudras. If you read Who Were Shudras, these books, and the page of the last, the page of 243, Dr. Ambedkar actually says that, the Rig Vedas, some of the rhythm was actually constructed by a Shudha, and Shudha was one of the Shudra. So then he asked a logic, saying that you should not forget that your ancestor were the one who were writing Rig Vedas, so who were considering the rhymes to Rig Veda. And because you forget, and earlier I also said that because you forget that you are diamond and you have the ability to do it, and because we have forgotten who we were, and that becomes our life much more difficult. So I do think that converting into Buddhism will bring that identity, that belief, that self belief, that confidence in within us, and it can be much more explored. But I would keep it this short. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions by me? Please ask.
Sir, sir,
Yes,
I have a question.
please.
നമ്മുടെ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിലും ഗാന്ധിയൻ ഫിലോസഫി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു സബ്ജക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ അംബേദ്കർ ബേസ് ചെയ്ത് ഒരു കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷനും ഒരു സബ്ജക്റ്റും ആയിട്ട് ഇതുവരെ വന്നിട്ടില്ല. അതെന്തുകൊണ്ടാ?
Again, our pedagogical practices is dominated and dictated by Brahminical intelligentsia. So they promote Gandhism because it is a dead ideology and it is nothing but sugar-coated Brahminism. The basic of Gandhian philosophy was one, Kulathodil, traditional caste occupation. He actually advocated caste occupation. Once Gandhi has written, if you are a Dalit, you become an engineer. You study engineering. You study medicine. But when you search for a profession, you should not do the profession of a doctor. Don't become an engineer. You can study, but you have to choose your caste occupation. And Gandhi said, if I'm a scavenger, why not my son should be a scavenger? So Gandhism it is nothing but is a sugar-coated Brahminism. So these upper caste intelligentsia, they are intellectually dishonest people. They don't like Ambedkar's positive ideology, Ambedkar's democratic ideology. Babasaheb Ambedkar's ideology is for democracy. As John Dewey, Dr. Ambedkar stood for democratization of education, as well as democratization of this society. But Gandhism stood for Ramarajya. Even while we are actually struggling for independent India, independence, Gandhi's theory was a kind of nationalism having its base in Hindu Vedas or Bhagavad Gita. That was the cultural nationalism or political nationalism coined by Gandhi. But Ambedkar's political nationalism is more or less similar to Nehru. Both were secular people. Their nationalism was based on cardinal principles of this egalitarianism, that is secularism. So that is the they want to maintain this what is status quo. They want to maintain the caste system unaltered. That is the reason they are hesitant to open Babasaheb Ambedkar. They are hesitant to open study Ambedkar. At the same time, they are promoting Gandhism.
Okay, sir.
But you can read one book. I will tell you. Maharashtra government or national India government has published a book, Dr. Ambedkar's volume, writing and speeches. is there in a Malayalam. There it is published by Pasha Institute or by in the Government of India or Maharashtra Education Department. The book is What Congress and Gandhi Have Done to the Untouchables. It's the writings of Ambedkar. Its Malayalam is also available. So please try to read. And about Buddhism, I will mention another book. There is one great man. His name was Parameshwara Menon. He was a Hindu saint. Later on, he has become John Dharmadirtha. He converted to Christianity and became John Dharmadirtha. He was the president of Hindu Mahasabha. He has written a book titled History of Hindu Imperialism. It is published in Malayalam by Maitri Publication Trivandrum. Malayalam title is Haindava Dushprabhutta Charitram. In that book, there is a chapter about Buddhism. And he says Buddhism was the national religion of India from maybe BC 600 to AD maybe 100, 200. More than 800 years, Buddhism was the national religion. Okay.
Thank you.
Although it's time, I think, if you have any doubt, if you have to Rahul sir, otherwise we'll wind up. Veeram?
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, Ambedkar sir, for clearing doubts of participants. Thank you so much for having this section of for us.
Okay, let me invite Mr. Jobin for vote of thanks. Hello, Jobin. Hello, Jobin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, here.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I am Jobin Winslow J. I am here to deliver the vote of thanks for today's webinar. Till this time, we were all listening to the webinar on the relevance of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. In the current scenario, we all have got a lot of information regarding Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I am very proud to be a part of this. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. K. Ambudhashan sir, who inaugurated the webinar. He is a well-known personality with Ambedkarite thoughts. We are happy to have you, sir. Thank you for inaugurating this webinar. Next, I would like to thank the key speaker, our resource person of this webinar, Dr. Rahul Alinji, who is an education policy expert, research consult and major in Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and education thoughts. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening and encouraging us with your knowledge. Next, I extend my sincere thanks to the people who facilitated the webinar. I thank Mr. Agil Matthew Shaji, faculty of Sahajodi Arts and Science College, Kumli, and Dr. Brother Joseph Charpakal, HOD of School of Social Work, Marian College, Kutikanam. Next, I thank Miss Ashwati Yu, the counselor of Adi, who welcomed the gathering, and Mr. Mebin Biju Joseph from Marian College, Kutikanam, who read the preamble of our Constitution. Next, I thank the organizers of this webinar, especially Father Lenin Anthony SJ, the director of Attapadi Adivasi Development Initiatives, the students from Marian College, Kutikanam, and Sahajodi Arts and Science College, Kumli. Next, my sincere thanks goes to all the participants, including students, faculties, social workers, and other people. Once again, thank you so much to everyone. Thanks a lot.
Hello, Vipin.
Hello, sir.
Rahul, sir, thank you very much. Vipin.
Pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
So most welcome to Kerala, sir. Vipin, kindly put off the YouTube live. Vipin.
Okay, Father.